Testing, testing. Salute to the fellas out there. Do y'all hear me? Testing. All right, am I good? Y'all go ahead and throw something in the chat. Let me know if I'm good. Y'all hear me? All right, what up, Detro? You up on a late night? All right. I guess it was who else is in here? So I guess a couple of other people in here. And if y'all are not here, right here today, right now or whatnot, y'all can catch this on the replay. I mean, this will be very, very short, and I'm gonna go on ahead and get straight to the point. What I want to talk about is that there are two Supreme Court cases that's flying under the radar right now. Okay, and I want to clarify for the people out there that freedom of speech is only reserved for government entities. Okay, right? If you're on a private entity or enterprise, they can do what they want to do. Quite frankly. Okay. Well, there's two particular cases in particular. There's Moody versus NetChoice, okay, and then there's also NetChoice versus Paxson. What does that have to do with us all? Well, the effectiveness of Black men in social media, as far as getting their concerns out, has kind of triggered these Supreme Court cases. Not necessarily specifically us, but these social media companies have been, for the most part, obscuring what people have been saying by way of community guidelines, with the ever changing, and so forth, so forth. Okay. On one hand, these entities have been able to kind of circumvent being considered a FCC entity. FCC regulated entities, things like radio, TV, satellite, things like that, where they pay huge fines and things like that. And they obviously have to have a license in order to have media as such. Here is kind of like, in a way, the Wild Wild West, and they want to say that it's not. They have these policies and guidelines, but they behave in such a way like a media company. So on one hand, there is the danger of, quote unquote, places like this particular entity that we're on right now, YT. And then we have, other things like Facebook and TikTok and things like that, where there's ever changing community guidelines. This is going to pigeonhole these companies in becoming what they call, media companies, which social media companies don't want to do, right? Because all of the things that comes with it. On the other end of it, right, there's going to be clarity, right, as to whether or not somebody could shut somebody up online. Given that this has become the new modern public square, and it's sort of public implications or whatnot. We can't sit up here and act like because something is a private entity, there is no, would you say, effect on the public. Okay. At some time or another, this is going to happen. Now, if somebody's here online advocating for obviously violence or harm, or as they say, yelling fire in a movie theater, using speech that is so, would you say, so contemporaneous that it will create some form or fashion, some sort of danger to the person talking or other people, then would you say there is a problem? But other than that, people should be able to be freely to speak what they need to do. So I would say, you all going ahead, check that out and see what sort of implications there is, and how it may affect, these content creators out here in these YouTube streets. Now, What I would say is this is even more important now than ever. Why people should, take a multimedia strategy when it comes to content creation, right? One platform might offer one thing, or they're a little more lax. Another platform may offer another, where they're a little tight-wadded. So I would say that people really should consider um, making this sort of adjustments, because you've heard it now, and you can believe me or not, it's going to be big. Okay, Moody versus Net Choice, or Net Choice versus Paxton. Trust me, you've heard it. You've heard it here. And salute to the people who out there cloud watching. The late night folks or whatnot. Uh, Let me go on ahead and drop several links so that you all can see what I'm talking about. Okay, it would only be fair for you all to have the information here for yourself. Okay, Moody versus Net Choice. Okay, see this right here. This right here is going to be, something to really, really take a look at. Hey, salute, Chaos. Salute. Here is another one I want y'all to go ahead and take a look at. So, all of what's going on, y'all hearing these content creators and stuff like that, they're talking. You all keep an eye out for this, because, you don't want it to be one of those situations to where, people are talking one day and then the next week, they are, not there or whatnot, So I would say, if they have an email list, or, alternative things like Patreon, websites and stuff like that, get on it, man. Like, just so you can keep, some sort of content, at least two different ways, like, maybe YouTube and you join their Patreon, or YouTube and you join a Runbo or whatever, even if it's free stuff or whatnot, just so that you're able to kind of still see what's going on and you're still in the loop. Salute, Glow Hardy. What's up, man? You up here late? What's happening, man? So these are things so that you're publicly informed. I like, empowering people with information. That's my style. You can do with it that you will. Okay. You can make the sort of interpretation that you want from it, however it cuts out. But the whole point of this all is to inform you as to, what is to be. And if you all are considering a future in content creation, or otherwise, being a consumer of content creation, this is going to be something that you're going to hear a lot about in I would say the next month or so. Okay. All right. So if nothing else, let me see if anybody wants to chit chat for a little bit. Maybe I could do a little bit of AMA before I get on out of here. I'm going to drop the link here, and maybe if so, do the AMA, whatever y'all decide. What y'all want to decide? Y'all want to have an open panel on what we just talked about, or do y'all want to do AMA? Ask me anything. And it is within the context of what I could answer. We give y'all about an open panel. Okay, one vote for an open panel. All right. I'm gonna give y'all about another, another moments, couple moments. Hey, salute, Huru. What's happening, man? Y'all are up, man. Y'all are up, bro. Y'all are up, man. We going ahead. Look you up. All right. Let me go on ahead and drop the link here. Okay. Hold on real quick. For those that want to come up on the late night. Yeah. All right. So y'all going ahead, click away. I should be up here. So y'all want to discuss this? this matter and what it is and what it means and stuff, I would advise y'all to go on ahead and check it out and remain publicly informed. What's happening, Glow?
What's up, man?
What's happening?
No much.
You up on the late night burning the midnight oil, man?
Yeah. For some reason, I kind of stay up around this time. Yeah, a lot of my thoughts are a lot of good ideas come when I'm up at nighttime. You know, sometimes I'll just be kind of paying attention to my environment because y'all know where I'm at. I'm trying to figure out if I heard I'm trying to figure out what I just heard outside because you know the street normally be like kind of quiet, you know. But
yo, well, you know, yeah, you gotta keep your head on the swivel, man. You gotta make sure you're good. You know what I mean?
Always.
Salute. What's happening, Busy Rand? Yeah, we just up, man. Just just kind of shooting the shit, late night barbershop. You know what I mean? You know, what I did do was open up with a premise about the sort of net choice versus Paxton and net choice versus Moody thing. You know, Florida and Texas is going at it with the Supreme Court over content moderation or whatnot, and how things could be, this can affect the space. Hey, salute, Art, man, you up on the late night, man. You free to come up if you want to. You know, I know you be you a teacher, man. I don't want you going off on the kids. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, Busy. We gonna be up, chopping it up, man. So, yeah. Nevertheless, this is stuff that people should be informed about. Here's some things. Here's some other things I want you all to more or less be informed about, man. We're in a space and an age where there is lots of information thrown at you. People use all these buzzwords, like I'm a numbers guy, or I'm would you say, I'm into research and things like that. And then when you more or less, peel back the onion, there's nothing left there, right? What say you about this or whatnot, and how people can consume information and information a little better so that, they can arm themselves so that, they're not easily influenced, because one person could actually dangle numbers and paper in front of you, but it might not necessarily even be credible within itself. Okay. So, Flo, what's your thoughts about that?
I think that people should definitely check their sources and see where mostly your source should be coming from the government, because that's what the census is for, because it pretty much details data and the specificity of the data. It's going to give you an accurate overview of your environment, at least on the national level. And then I would start looking at like local things. How does everything going on in history right now, everything that's going on right now, how does it relate to the past? So you should definitely become educated on your city's history. You should definitely be interested in general national history. But I would start with the national history first, and then I would go to city history, and that's when I would start like looking through things like statistics, because statistics give history context, in my opinion.
Yo, let me say this real quick, and I'm gonna speak to your point. Yo, team Fatty. Yo, big salute. And I got something for you coming your way, man. Thank you for the unwavering support, man. For real, man. Y'all, you had all them brothers come through and crash the screen with all them purple dots and spades, man. Thanks for the support, man. All right, and much to Busy Rand's point, we can sit up here and we can, I mean, there's time and a place to talk about, these ladies and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, one has to, develop oneself as men, and a part of being a man and is free thinking and not being, under any sort of influences, overtly or covertly. Okay, so statistics. Okay, fine. We don't have to get into the nitty gritty of statistics, and we're not going to do that here. But the whole purpose is to actually be able to consume information in such a way to where your mind is free and that you're not under that sort of influence, right? You know what I mean? Like I said before, you could have people dangle numbers in the paper in front of you or whatnot, right? But just like you said, Glow, even the government to a certain extent, we have to be mindful as well that there's interest in things like that, right? But some more credible sources, there's less credible sources too. Is the government more credible than most? Yes. Are they, less credible in some ways? Yes. It depends on the history and context, like you said before, right? One could point to the Tuskegee Airmen and how they use racialized tests to validate why they wouldn't allow, our fighting men to fly the skies and protect us. There was a study at the turn of the century regarding quote unquote Negro intelligence. There was also a study, the Tuskegee Experiment, by the United States Public Health Service, right, where our people were more or less experimented on. There were obviously, things that, people really, really don't want to talk about that. Actually,
please, do you mind if I interject?
Oh, go ahead.
Because I think this needs to be said, man. I think it was like in the 30s or 40s. This is a open platform, right? Like I can speak about these things, right?
Yeah.
It was either the 30s. It was either the 30s or the 40s. But they were. I think it was Alabama or it was some like deep South state where they was. I think the STD was herpes, and they were like somehow giving herpes to black men, and they were pretty much guinea pigs to see like what would happen. So like when they would go to the doctor and stuff like that, they would act like they don't know what afflicted them, but they would be taking down the data from like what they're experiencing, knowing that they were afflicted. So when you think about that, if they're like, okay, like we're gonna give this disease, I think it was herpes, that we're gonna give this disease to this population of the states, right? And then we're going to monitor them up until the point that they come to the doctor to talk about these things, about what they're experiencing. Then we're going to deny that we can explain what's going on, but they know that they've already that they've poisoned this group of people, and they're just taking down the results. So it kind of makes you think, aside from like the start to finish of what happened, because even though that does need attention, I just want to kind of close in on the fact that not only did they give it to them, but they were anticipating them coming to the doctor in the first place after knowing these issues. Like, do you know how pathological it is to really think that in depth about how you're going to afflict somebody with something, and then to deny that it's happening to somebody, and then take the results of that so you can use it for the betterment of other situations outside of this one. When I say that, like, because of course they know that time is going to pass and stuff like that. um at first they won't give you the cure, but when everybody else gets the cure, that's when, you know, we could say like, oh, this was for a good thing. But it's just the fact that you all really had it in your mind to just poison one group of people and then lie about poisoning them, and taking the good from it. The only, and I wouldn't even say good. It's the it's not good. It's like things, the data that will be helpful from that, like to afflict. It's just so it's pathological. It's pathological.
It is.
I'll
It
end my
is.
plan.
So let me go on ahead and speak to that a little bit. So there was the Tuskegee Airmen and a specific test and regarding them and not being able to fly, right? And they had taken that test from the turn of the century. Okay, United States Army War College actually commissioned that study to validate why these black men should not fly planes. Okay, and then there is also what we call the Tuskegee experiments. Okay, two different studies, right? Okay, at play, where you just alluded to, and that happened from 1932 to 1972. A longitudinal study where black men who had they either had it or they gave it to them. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to speak wrong. Where they looked at the progression of the disease and basically went on to basically deny them treatment. And sadly, who made them feel safe during the course of this? It was a sister, quote unquote, if we want to call her that, right? Named Eunice Rivers, a public health nurse, who actually knew about the whole thing and didn't say anything. Did you know that? You all can look her up. Okay.
I'm putting Eunice who?
Rivers. Eunice Rivers.
It's
okay?
Disgusting, man.
Huh?
It's disgusting how deep the pathology goes and like what they. It's just like, can you really say like Jim Crow hasn't been effective to some degree, or like more than we give it credit for? That's what I'm starting to wonder.
100%. 100%. But also we cannot forget that Jim Crow also allowed us to do our best under the sort of adversarial circumstances or whatnot too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, even, in segregated high schools and things like that, you would have people who were going off to HBCUs and things like that. One of the first jobs they came back home to was teaching. Okay. So you had education where people's mindset was a little more liberated versus now where, things are more or less used to be aligned with, would you say, an identity or agenda that might not necessarily be aligned with their own, where, people may not necessarily have racial pride, esteem, and so forth. Particularly these young black men are often being targeted. Okay. So what Eunice and OH? Hey, that's creative. That's creative. Yes, Eunice is indeed from Ohio. I will take that. I'll take that. That's what your intentions were. I think if I were to spell it backwards, I think she's from Idaho too, if you know what I mean. But I digress. Okay. So yes, you were actually talking about the Tuskegee experiment. Okay. And there's other things like other things out there that people are kind of afraid to touch. You know what I mean? But it's all out there. Even the government, if you were to go on their websites, they'll tell you about a lot of these experiments and things like that. So, but getting back to the main topic, right? The main topic, more or less, is about bias in research. One has to look at the funder, right? Do I have any sort of incentive as far as what the outcomes are, right? As far as skewing the numbers to make them look better than what they are or worse than what they are, right? Because we can't sit up here and act like, research is done in a laboratory, whether it is a societal laboratory or a physical laboratory, and we're somehow or another devoid of all of the crap that's in society. Just like you alluded to earlier, Glow Hardy, when we're thinking about social context, historical context, and everything else, right? Okay.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. Herpes began relatively benign in comparison to syphilis. Syphilis presents as hardcore nervous system or vascular illness after long-term exposure as opposed to lesions. Hey, see, that's the thing. You know what I mean? And people set up here and actually, let it progress. Now, what other nation, quote unquote, practice massive experiments on their citizens or people who they deem non-citizens? What other nation did?
Well, I wouldn't know what other nation conducted like a massive experiment, but I do know that there's one nation. There was one nation that had something similar, not in its end result, but like how it was executed, which was or like just yeah, and it was similar to how it was executed. The Cambodian genocide, you know.
Well, there's the Cambodian genocide. You're talking about Pol Pot in 1975. But I like to point you to others before that. Argentina, who knows? There was some brothers and sisters there, and more or less they kind of disappeared over time. So who knows? I was talking about none other than Nazi Germany and obviously
Oh wow,
Japan. Okay, and
did you say Japan?
Yes, Japan. Yes, Unit 731. Are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, biological experiments and things like that on their population.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yep. And guess who they brought over after the war? Okay.
Oh wow.
Operation Paperclip. Okay. Right. German scientists. Unit 731 from Japan. Right. Where they did biological weapons testing, organ harvesting. 100%. 100%. Okay. So what I'm basically saying is research is good. Take it with a grain of salt. Understand that there's bigger machinery behind it. This is not to say that research isn't good, because a lot of the amenities and the things that we have today are afforded to research, right? A lot of it is afforded to us using skepticism and critical thinking and innovation to promote the sort of would you say quality of life that we have now. But some of the common errors in regards to research is, would you say, methodology, right?
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Methodology is for sure huge, because that's when you start getting into ethics and stuff like that.
Yep. Methodology, right? Consent. Obviously, we just talked about Funder and their own agendas with research. Onto plagiarizing, interviewer bias, study design, so forth. So anybody, out here talking about I'm a numbers guy, I'm a data guy, I'm a this and I'm a that, or whatever the case may be. That's cool. You hear it all the time. These are buzzwords. And, Lord bless the late, great Kevin Samuels, salute to the brother, right? He actually opened and, entered uncharted territory where, people, talked more about, data, statistics, facts, so that people are able to consume them more. You know what I mean? But I want you all to actually go beyond that and actually understand, okay, because this is quote unquote data and statistics, right? It does not necessarily equal validity either, right? And so that we have to make sure that when people, particularly the opposition, you know what I mean, present numbers to us, it's almost like, this is it and this is all, right? So this is not to say that data and statistics are inherently a bad thing, okay? But you have to know what you're looking at, okay? So let me go ahead with Exhibit A, okay? Right? Exhibit A is a Harvard Journal retraction, okay? And I'm gonna show you what this Harvard Journal retraction did. Anybody know in the chat what is a journal retraction and why that is important? Why is that a problem? Anybody want to touch on it?
Do you mind if I answer, or would you prefer?
Go ahead.
A journal retraction is when I think when a study is published and there were found to be some type of error, whether it be ethical or empirical, and they retract that part of the study for a clear understanding of whatever they were studying.
Okay, excellent. Okay, that's exactly it. Okay, so here's the title. Okay, I mean, this is just a random one. Okay, this is just a random one. Okay, Harvard's Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to retract multiple papers after blogger alleges data fabrication. Okay, let me go on ahead and drop that down there so that y'all can get a gist of what we're talking about here. Let me go on ahead and make sure you got it. Are you in the chat, Glow, or you want me to go on ahead and put it in the back chat for you?
Yeah, I got I'm in the chat. I see the link.
Okay. Now, this is a blogger, okay, who actually, challenged the context of this research, right? So this is to show you the power of what can actually happen. If this can happen with something as serious as Cancer Institute, okay, and data fabrication and stuff like that, this begs to say that we can actually do the same here, okay, right? Keep your eyes open and vigilant, because there's people who are out there who are engaged in the academy who have their own agendas that they want to push, okay? And we want to make sure that we are actually able to advocate for ourselves, without people using research to kind of bully us, because the power of the quote unquote researchers that they're deemed as expert witnesses when it comes to court, when it comes to legislation, when it comes to a wide variety of things, speaking at symposiums and things like that, right? One has to state that the intelligentsia, quote unquote, all right, influences policy, right? Influences the whole direction of society. From one could say in Paris, how they had their community that eventually developed the Paris Commune. On to Russia, they had their community when it came to their folks, right? Their intellectuals, okay. But one has to also consider its effect and influence on you all as far as the research goes. So when somebody presents to you numbers and this and that, and they're saying what it is, you really, really have to, take it with a grain of salt. Now, that's Exhibit A. Let me go on ahead and present to you all Exhibit B. Okay. And I want to say that Obsidian tackled this a little bit. Okay. This right here is the Pick Me, Black Women, Tactical Patriarchal Femininity in the Black Manosphere. Okay. This is a professor. Okay. University of Tennessee professor. Okay. Now, this is a research paper, right?
My Jesus Christ, bro.
I see you in here, man. Machismo TV in the building.
Machismo salute.
Yeah, he in there. Yeah,
Bro,
he
Jesus Christ. I can't believe you just, oh my Jesus Christ, bro.
okay. All right. What's happening?
I'm just, it's like this being published, this topic being published as a
Slow down.
research.
Slow down for a second, real quick. Huru, you saying that you can't see it? Let me make sure I drop the link again. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me go on ahead and see if there's a way I can go on it. Share this share screen here. Sorry. All right. Are you all able to see this here? Put a 1 in the chat if you all are able to see this here. Go ahead and put a 1 in there. Okay, are you able to see it, Glow Hardy?
Yes, sir. My bad. I thought I assumed that you would have known. My apologies.
Okay, cool. Okay. So what this is, and we're not going to go ahead and go behind the paywall and actually, dig to that extent. We're just going to go more or less look at the abstract, okay? And you all have to really consider, okay, whether or not this research is going to be biased or unbiased, whether or not, people are leveraging their credentials to actually create a narrative or a point that could be more harmful to our voices as Black men, okay? And finding ways to kind of weaponize language, okay? We talked about weaponized language before, okay? And so I want you to put you all in the sort of lens of that and what's actually happening, okay? All right. Pick Me, Black Women, Tactical Patriarchal Femininity in the Black Manosphere by Danielle Prokopic Bell, okay? This essay analyzes anti-feminist pick-me Black women, content creators on YouTube who exist within the Black manosphere. Online spaces populated by Black men who support patriarchal dominance. These pick-me content creators use what I term tactical patriarchal femininity to attract the financial provision of an economically stable Black man and to derive income from sympathetic viewers. Tactical patriarchy femininity is an elaborate, all-consuming embodied performance that is as much about emotion work as it is about exuding conventional attractiveness and behavior that is aligned with traditional femininity. Tactical patriarchal femininity exists to combat the matrices of oppression created by capitalism, white supremacy, and institutional patriarchy. Anti-feminist Black women work in reaction to the misogynist material realities that victimize Black women. Ultimately, the Black manosphere explicit disavowal of Black women's worth apart from what they may provide for men in their role as patriarchalized wife is dangerous to all Black women, including and especially those Black women who claim anti-feminism. Anti-feminism does not combat dehumanizing views that posit Black women as masculine, unmarriageable, and undeserving of care and support. Rather, anti-feminist Black women work to make themselves exceptions to the rule in a bid for conditional respect and protection that rarely materializes long run. Okay. All right. That was a whole lot of gibberish, a whole lot of academies, okay? A whole lot, okay? What do you gather from that? As far as, if you had a bias scale from 1 to 10, okay? Glow Hardy.
It's off the Richter scale, man. Like this is 100. This is 100 over 10, bro. Like, I'm a bit amused by because it's just like, bro, like they pretty much intellectualize something that that shouldn't have been taken as far as it has, which is feminism, and now through academia in a liberal environment, they're accusing a working system, a system that foundationally is sound of oppressing them, but all at the same time having the ability to criticize freely that system. I think it's just gaslighting at its finest, and it being validated by academic institutes through publishing. Because when you have academics and stuff like that, we understand that they publish these reviews, and it goes back to your point of supporting a narrative or pushing an agenda. And it's kind of we're in an age of extreme yellow journalism. It's not even just like, I don't think that yellow journalism, like I think back when it was coined in, what was it like? It was kind of around the time of when we coined the phrase pop culture as well. But I don't think that the journalism.
If that was yellow journalism, I would say today we dealing with piss yellow journalism.
Yeah, it's extreme. This is extreme. This is absolutely extreme, and it's just like, I think that do you know how much it takes to be still to still maintain a rational a rationally sound mind? When you hear how subtly these extreme concepts are embedded in our everyday waking moments. Because pretty much the academic environment creates a greater society, because we're understanding the core of what a society is. So when you study, when you publish a whole bunch of articles and stuff like that, and you get interpretations from free journalists of these academic articles, you're supposed to look at these academic articles as empirical. When the free journalists that probably may have not had that much exposure to like academic study, but just freelance journalism, they get this information and they push it out, and it's it can be considered a bad take, or it can be oversimplified, or it doesn't give enough credence to what the actual topic is, or the actual idea of that academic study. So it kind of muddies the information that is supposed to fully inform society. Because once again, to round up my point, is that academic studies are published into wider society, so we can see how closely we can get to our best possible our best possible point. Yes, outcome.
Best outcomes for human potential. It is a modern library of Alexandria of sorts. Okay, you're absolutely correct. And with crap like this, people are trying to essentially politicize access to black men. That's what this is about. Let me go on ahead to Exhibit B. Okay, all right, Glow.
Yes, all sir. Right? I'm here.
You're very, very thorough with the critical analysis, man. And I'm gonna tell you this now, man. If you ever decide to, fire up a channel, you always welcome with the Machismo TV team. You know what I mean? You're very, very bright young fella. A lot of potential, man. All right.
Hey, I'll say it right now. I'm definitely for that. I actually have been growing my YouTube over the last 6 years, towards like the start of my junior year of college, and towards now. I really wanted to not to sway away from the matter at hand. I want to do stuff. I wanted to do stuff like, I've always wanted to do something like this. Like, I love that we're actually being able to talk about the things that we're able to talk about now, because to be it would be asinine to back then it would be asinine to conceive that you could speak so openly and thoroughly about something as deep as this as a black man, even within recent history. So like, I think that what we're doing is monumental, and I want to be a part of it.
Well, much to your point, in tapping the full human potential of the black male, this is one of the reasons why Machismo TV is around. We want to create an army of voices. You know what I mean? So there's a diversity of what's out there, right? You know what I mean? Because we have guys out there, they're doing their best and stuff like that. But imagine what other ideas that can rise to the top, from other black men or whatnot. So we'll talk more about that on the back end. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me go on ahead to Exhibit B. Okay. Hold tight. Let me go on ahead and bring this up here. Okay. This here. Let me go on ahead and give you the title right here, just so that you can see here. This is some sort of research clearinghouse, or would you say, publishing clearinghouse or journal of some sort. Okay. So you all can more or less imply, what sort of conversations could be had about black men online in our voices, unfortunately, as if we're somehow or another dangerous, and we're not. You know what I mean? Yes, he is. Yes, he is, my nuke brother. Yes, he is. Very much, very much intelligent brother, very much. Okay. Let me go ahead to this title, and I'm going to read a little blurb about this real quick, just so y'all can get a little sample. And I'm going to ask my colleague here, okay, what would it be on the sort of bias rating scale, all right? The manosphere isn't just white. Black femicide and the radicalization of black male youth. Okay, this was published, all right, okay, January 22, a little over 2 years ago, by a Alexandria Ono-Oha, okay? And before I actually delve deep into this, right? Hey, salute, brother. Welcome to the digital pirate radio, the late night barbershop, right? I know us at Machismo TV, we were having some technical difficulties earlier. We did not do the Sunday Night Live. So that's going to be done sometime this week with a pop-up. So y'all keep your eyes out for that, okay? All right. Violence against women is a large public health issue. Doesn't that sound familiar? Right? We're just going to leave that there, okay? As far as, where this is going, okay? Where scholars and community organizers are striving to build support to reduce harm for women and girls of color. Racism compounded with sexism is a crossroads which presents issues at every turn. When Black women and girls talk about getting through each day, trying to survive, we do not simply getting through daily tasks under a capitalist system. A part of this mission is resisting Black femicide. Femicide is defined as the intentional killing of women because they are women. Black femicide needs to be named as such because the experiences of Black women and girls are different. Black femicide is the intent to murder Black women and girls. Okay. Black femicide takes many forms, including intimate partner violence and sexual violence. Okay, let me quickly interject there. We already know the highest rates of domestic violence within, the Black community, female and female. I'm gonna just leave that there though. In 2020, at least 4 Black women and girls were murdered per day in the United States, and this rate has increased significantly according to FBI reports. Let me just pause here, okay? All right. Charge language, dog whistle, bias. How would you rate it from a 1 to 10?
This is once again off the charts. Come on, bro. Like, you coming in with some hard hitting, you swinging. You already came in the fight swinging hard. Like you Black femicide, like that. Oh my God, it's the Black woman dying. It's the Black woman's plight again. Like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, it's the Black man's fault again that the Black woman cannot rise as she's supposed to. as the goddess that she is of the whole race, of the whole world. Like it's all there, bro. Like it comes in swinging at you hard. Black femicide and the radicalization of young black men. So what it's already embedding in you if you have like any it's already embedding that as you go deeper in the topic or the article that you know if a young black man exhibits any form of masculinity, it's to be taken as extreme, and now it's being pushed in once again an academic article, but this isn't even an academic article about this isn't even an academic article based on numbers and stuff like stats and stuff like that. This is more of a think piece.
Exactly, and I'm gonna show you the danger of this in a second. Even more, what's even more sinister about it. But what I also want to cue in on, okay, is the last name. Okay, right?
Some people. This goes. Can I? Because I feel like I already know. I think I already know where you're gonna go with it, and just to surprise you, like, okay. Do you mind if I state it real quick?
Go ahead.
This goes back to me saying that it's not any better in Africa, and it's probably worse in Africa. It's probably worse in Africa because the occupation is of two nations. Like we're here, we already like kind of, you know what I'm saying, like figured everything out, like how race relations are gonna go in America, and we're working on the nuances of it right now. But in Africa, to be oppressed by two different nations of fairer skin. You know, like the do you know how in how many ways that's gonna affect somebody's reasoning, and especially like women's reasoning, and how they're more they're gonna act in their best interest. Women are way more selfish. They're gonna act in their best interest. So whatever that they had to learn to act in their best interest by a continent that has that two fair skinned countries have their foothold in, you know, what everybody's gonna be looking at this African woman like she's saying everything that black women have been saying, and she's even saying it from the continent. So it's like it's gonna further add legitimacy in their mind. It's gonna further add legitimacy to the whole premise.
Well, there's that, but there's also things of the sort where, you know, people come over here and, you know, this. I mean, when we're talking about our folks from the continent who actually come over here, 9 times out of 10, they're highly skilled. Okay. Particularly in STEM, you know, or, you know, maybe they're some sort of political VIP or whatnot. So a lot of the stuff that, you know, they're saying isn't their reality. Okay. It's a hustle. You know, and a lot of this stuff, you know, is, you know, their way of legitimizing their sort of white worshiping asses. And that's it. And it's another way to get funding, right? You know, if one were to even quote unquote take, like she said, 4 black women a day, right? Times 365, would you say maybe that's about 1,500? Anybody got a calculator? We guess that's about 1,500, maybe 1,300. You could take certain cities in the 1990s on into the 2000s alone, one city. And we're talking about black men, right? Okay. Nobody said that. Nobody cared. Hey, you from the Chi? That could easily be 1 year, you know, where, you know, there is 1,200 in 1 year for a particular city. You see what I'm saying? Like, nobody seems to care about that. That though, I'm talking about a city. I'm not talking about nationwide. You follow me, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you know, it's all this is, you know, a hustle, and obviously, you know, it's all drying up because we already know how that DEI thing kind of went. We really do, you know. But needless to say, you know, And I don't want you all more or less digging into this person's background or history, anything beyond what's publicly open and on the internet in regards to scholarship. You know what I mean? And more or less, combating the narrative. But, this is, somebody who's actually using the sort of university hustle to obviously shit on black men. Okay. Oh, okay. Salute, Busy Rand. See, man, I knew I liked you, man. I could smell the mild sauce all over you, man. Chicago is a second home. I'm a West Coast boy. I'm from LA. I would say that, but yeah, I knew it, man. I knew it, Busy Rand. All right, so to get to my point or whatnot, it is very, very, very important. If you all could see this as far as the research goes, right, then one has to ascertain that there's a more of a nuanced approach to people who blend some truth with some lies in it, right? And so this is why I've always encouraged brothers to consume research. And, maybe there needs to be an arm of folks out there actually challenging research with, the sort of rigor and putting it actually under the fire, under the crucible to see if it actually holds up. Because people could just actually say all this shit unchallenged, and of course you'll be deemed as a misogynist in doing so. But when you actually dig through the nitty gritty and how ideological and overzealous they are, I'm willing to bet somebody's cooked the numbers. Okay. Somebody's, screwed up with their study design, their research methodology, so forth, so forth, so forth. Okay. Some of these folks actually need their articles and journals retracted because with that, there is the loss of credibility. Okay. We're dealing with the academic industrial complex to shit on black men. You know what I mean? And that's what we're dealing with. How many of those Black Lives Matters families victims have actually gotten funding for their sons whose blood was spilled on the street? You hear that time and time. You hear about these agitators and agents of chaos showing up to these places and things like that with their own agendas and things like that. Let's just call it what it is. So there's more mechanics at work than we would like to admit. Okay. Okay. So let me do one more. Okay. All right. One more here. Let me see here. Okay. Come on. All right. So this year, hold on for a second. All right. So this right here is a, let me share my screen here. Where's the damn share button? Presents screen. Okay. This right here is an open letter to the editorial board of Misinformation Review. Okay. I'm going to read a little bit of it. Okay. All right. Now, yes, there's a movement, ADOS, Americans, American descendants of slaves. Okay. I don't really push them like that. You know what I mean? I am who I am. I know who I am. And, much respect to them. Sometimes, they got, some people who be down with the shea butter over there. But I do got to applaud them and them actually doing what they needed to do to advocate on behalf of, what they would say biased research. Okay. And so this is a lesson that we can take on our side, us being black men and negative stuff being put out against us that is unfounded in research. Okay. All right. As members of the editorial board of Harvard Kennedy School's Misinformation Review, your presence is meant to confer credibility and legitimacy upon the journal. However, the journal's evident disinterest in the truth and its vehement hostility to debate naturally precludes any effect. Okay, so you've likely heard that earlier this summer, the American Descendants of Slavery Advocacy Foundation called on Misinformation Review to retract this article, Disinformation Creep, ADOS, and the Strategic Weaponization of Breaking News. The demand was accompanied by a formal rebuttal that identified the author's defective methodology, refuted their defamatory findings, and revealed the dramatic extent to which disinformation creep violated the journal's on publication ethics. Okay, right? So let me go on ahead and click to this disinformation creep, and let me share this here. Okay, hold on. Okay, just so that you all could really see how far this particular rabbit hole goes. You are going to laugh at this. Trust me. Trust and believe me. Okay. Retracted. Disinformation creep, ADOS, and the strategic weaponization of breaking news. In this essay, we conduct a descriptive content analysis from a sample of a data set made numbers. We find that the ADOS network strategically uses breaking news and events to discourage Black voters from voting for the Democratic Party, a phenomenon we call a disinformation creep. Okay, all these are numbers, right? Numbers. 534,000 scraped tweets with access to one. All that shit sounds fine and dandy when somebody dangles numbers in front of you until it was good a week ago and your shit gets retracted, right? Okay, so there's some lessons that we can learn from them. Now, when you actually look at these authors, okay, and you look at their backgrounds and who they are and whether or not they're even qualified to be a co-author as such a study, you will find that their experience is dubious at best, okay? And we already know who's the primary agitator here, okay? Right? Okay? So this person listed in front is the primary investigator, okay? They're the person who led the study, okay? And when you actually dig deep, you have people who have bachelor's degrees at best, some without even any degrees at all, let alone any research experience, okay? Salute to the ADOS network for actually doing their homework on this and actually coming out with a seething rebuttal, okay? So this is, for the most part, what it is. Let me go ahead and drop the link so that you all can look at it for yourself and consume it yourself as to why there's danger in actually being dangled numbers in your face without any sort of context, without any fact checking, without any rigorous methodological review or examination or anything like that. Okay, this is how we can be swayed. Okay, so let me go on ahead, stop sharing this here, and ask Lil Hardy once again. Okay, what do you think that we can learn from the ADOS? Okay, I want to say foundational network and them going after Harvard for publishing dubious findings, cooking the books and the numbers and things like that. What do you think we can learn here from our side?
Before I want to answer that question, but I want to provide context to the answer.
Go ahead.
I just want to call attention to the fact that these were numbers cooked by, a top 5 school in the United States. and if you think about the United States being a global superpower, and they're like publishing articles with cooked numbers and very extreme views, it kind of really puts things in perspective for you, you know.
100%, because they have the resource, the prestige, and all these sorts of things at their hands, and they're
The
putting it
reach,
there.
the reach, most importantly, the reach is really what I'm talking about. It's the reach.
Information
And
too.
you said what?
Information reach and
Yes,
presumed credibility.
yes, yes, exactly. That was my next additive to that. Um, you know what Ados did was incredible. I think that what happens, we're kind of. I think that people kind of overcomplicate how we can get to these types of things. It's really just as simple as one, having the initiative, two, having the proper team. You can really do it by yourself, but the team amplifies the effect, and three, proper execution. So I think that when you have these three things, we could achieve exactly what ADOS has, or we could just become a part of that network and push it through that way. But if I think that it's always good to use whatever you have at your disposal. Just like I believe that, you know, public and private interests are both important. Like you should be able to have access to public health care, but you know, you should also be able to have access to private health care. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to quote unquote skip the line or have more personalized care, then there's a reason for private health care, right? So but if you don't necessarily have everything in order and you need something that's like pretty straightforward and it's available to you, public health care is good to be there. So I'm using this as an example to what I'm saying about having both sides, having two options available to you, because people pretty much exclude, you know, the two and don't think that they could be very effective if used together. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really just as simple as us having the initiative, having a good team, and executing properly. Because I mean, how can we say that that wasn't the formula, the basic formula for what ADOS did?
100%. There's obviously some sort of organizing and some sort of effort to kind of rebut that and rebut it in such a surgical fashion. I encourage people to go on ahead and do their research into that. But the whole point here, as Glo Hardy was stating, is that there has to be some sort of organized and concerted effort. Now, for those with those sorts of skills in doing so, be it statistics, if you like statistics, if you like research, if you like any form of an analysis, maybe this is a clarion call of sorts to see what is needed on behalf of Black men, right? There's people who engage in punditry, and there's a time and place with that. There's people who are more gifted at supporting content creators and things like that. But to add an extra layer, okay, where we could take what we have here, because we all have all these Black men congregating together, and we all know how people react when they see Black men congregate together. Okay, obviously they feel like there's going to be either some danger or some sort of change. And the spirits of the Maroons that have fought before you, I ask you and implore you all to go ahead and actually engage in in-depth examination and critical analysis, so we can go ahead and actually be the voice out there, project our power, because powerful we are. Okay, right? And this is one way to demonstrate that, Flex. Especially now, it's the best time to do so, right? So, yeah. So, I'm gonna go on ahead and quickly suggest to the people out there, if you haven't yet, like the stream. Once again, Machismo TV, we're going to do a live pop-up show sometime this week. There were some technical issues on our end. We actually want to make sure that you all brothers can go ahead and benefit from it. I know that you all love to support us in our channel. This is Salty Boss channel within the Machismo TV network. We're about 6 minutes past 2 a.m. on the West Coast. I would like to go on ahead and offer up closing statements at this time. Okay, so Glow Hardy, given what we're talking about today, as far as consuming information, free speech, and all the like, right? What would you say your general summary is? And and by the way, as we wrap up the show, make sure you stay on the back end. By the way, all right.
Yes, sir. So when you say stay on the back end, like I could just stay in the StreamYard app and
Yep.
we could still talk and stuff.
Yep.
All right,
Yes.
that's too easy. All right, so my closing remarks on this topic, I think that free speech is definitely something that you should be engaging in. I think that you should engage in it responsibly. Don't weaponize, even though that free speech is free. There's consequences. Don't weaponize your free speech. If you're going to accuse, make sure that it's an accurate accusation. I think that we should definitely be pushing back on these academic think tanks because they're affecting our general society, and I think that it's much more subtle, the effects that it has on society, because once this data gets pushed out, once these things that we learn more about, like general human behavior, gets pushed out from all subjects of a college or a university, the same information that's available to the students are available to congressmen, all the three branches of government: judicial, legislative, and executive. This information is used to be effective in legal reasoning at the highest levels. So when you consider the fact that not only does it have government reach, it has societal reach, and even though that the government is a part of society, the government is what governs society. I forget what it's called. You're not supposed to use the word in the definition, but what I'm saying is that the government is what's going to manage the society. So like if you have an academic institute that is able to communicate certain things to the government that isn't accurate, and the government manages society, and you have a social environment that's affected by the things that are published because of that information being pushed to the government, and then pretty much sets the precedence for everything in your society. You need to we need to understand that we need to understand how deeply these things affect us. We need to understand how a chain of events work in the delegation of power and supporting organizations, and all of this is achieved through education.
Well, education could be an apparatus by which one can seek out liberation, or education could be used as a means to further silo people off into their mind with information deposited in them, rather than teaching them how to think. They're taught what to think.
Yes.
An example of this or whatnot, as far as grossly influencing people and more or less having an effect on policy, as you stated before, policy and politics. So that's the thing. I want to inform brothers to be, consumers of research, consumers of information, journalism a lot better because, there's going to be an upping the stakes. Okay. Because, I hear people in these spaces a lot stating, I'm a numbers guy, data, statistics, empiricism, facts. That sounds good until you get into the nitty gritty of it and you find out that it's all a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors as well, right? So valid and reliable research is what reigns supreme, not somebody who just put fucking numbers on the paper with a lot of academies, because that's what's done a lot, right? And then there's also hierarchy of research, from case studies to the bottom, right? Onto mixed message at the top, onto randomized controlled trials. So there's different levels of research, just like magazine would be deemed less credible, or newspaper will be deemed less credible as opposed to something that's peer reviewed, and within the peer reviewed journal articles or whatnot, how do we determine what is credible and what is not, or the weight of the evidence? So there's, all these different things. And this, you don't have to be an academic to consume information that makes sense. You don't have to, right? You have a lot of people in these spaces, they engage in rhetorical and oratorical prowess. And, they're not those guys who, want to give speeches in their daily lives, which is cool. But if people can do that and be self-taught as far as that goes, one can be self-taught in as far as the information that's distributed and placed out there, and be able to question what is out there, because it's a dangerous game. Yeah, you get a lot of people out here talking about some statistics and stuff like that until you ask them about hypothesis testing or t-tests or chi-tests or any of those other things, right? Once you start getting into stuff that's beyond descriptive statistics and you get into the nitty gritty of stuff, then it's like, I don't like math. It isn't necessary. Yeah, p values, right? You know what I mean, right? 0.05 or 0.005 or 0.0005 or 0.0001, or p values in its relation to confidence intervals, right? Or proportions, right? You know what I mean? Busy, do you hear me? Are you with me, Newt? I see you down there. Are you with me, Newt? But people can write it off as nerddom or whatever the case may be. I am far from that. I got grease on my shoulders and I'm a Newt. I'm slick with it. So I'm very far from that. But I just want to empower Black men to be able to consume information a little better, be it journalism, be it research, be it the legal system. So we touched 3 different points today, from the legal analysis to the journalistic analysis and the academic stuff and its effect on our lives and our voices. Okay? So with that being said, oh, you say I'm a whole system. Hey, put it like this. Achievement in every field of human endeavor, man. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I'm going to leave that there, Busy Rand. But with that said, I'm going to wind down this broadcast. Brothers, good night and good luck. And Glow, stick around. I will be in the back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm leaving. So I'm leaving the app up, and I'm gonna leave the app up. So when you cut pretty much when you cut the stream, I'll still be in the app, right?
Yep, you'll be here. You'll be here.
Bet.
Okay. All right, you all. So another one. Y'all go ahead and donate a light on the way out the door, and I will do more pop-ups or whatnot. I appreciate you all coming through. And for those who are just coming through, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because there will be more content like this, when it comes to those gentlemen out here thinking. All right. With that, I bid you all good night. All right.